Hot diggity dog, I'm live. Been a while. Just going to give a couple minutes here for possibly, hopefully, a few people to come into the stream. Like I say, it's been a while. Not sure who's going to be getting the notifications or not. But I got my new Starlink set up and I figured let's try a test stream at the very least and see how things go and see how everyone else has been doing for the past few months as well. So, like I say, just give me a moment or two here while we wait for a few people, hopefully, to get the notification. If we still got people that are following the channel, I noticed that the sub count hasn't gone down by very much. So, I'm hoping there are still a few people that pay attention or get notifications from the Canadian Libertarian channel. I posted a notification. If you follow me over on Minds, I posted a notification there as well. All right. Let's see here. We still got volume here. Just want to make sure we got volume. The sky is falling. Well, what the hell happened to Canada? It's going insane. Isn't that the truth? Just want to make sure my volume is actually working here. Let me double check on things. Speaker. Here we go. Yep. Yeah, we're good. We're good to go. We are good to go. Nice to see you in the chat there, Kyle Kavanaugh. Kyle Kavanaugh. The sky is falling. What the hell has happened to Canada? Because it's going insane. Here, let me just mute. Just wanted to check and make sure, too, of course, that the actual quality of the stream is good. Audio is clear and at a reasonable volume. Very good to know. Very good to know, Kyle. Thank you very much. I see Bo Show just showed up in the chat. Thank you for joining the stream as well. BC is going insane. Not just BC, but wow, right? And Quebec. Whew, dang. I still, even after all these months, these many, many months, I'm still shocked. Shocked. And how could I be shocked after all this time? Surely this is set in by now. But no, I'm still literally shocked that Canadians are so willing to allow this to take place, especially after all this time, right? Early on, the 2 weeks to flatten the curve, it's, I mean, I've heard pretty much everyone say, okay, I get it how they pulled the wool over our eyes at that particular time. Nobody knew what was going on. Fear was at a heightened level, right? The propaganda was coming at us thick and hardcore. Well, I mean, it still is. I mean, at some point in time, right? You got to think, at least at some point in time, right? Your typical or your average Canadian's going to say, well, wait a minute. Maybe I should just stop listening to the CBC. That's the all-encompassing area of where I get my news from, right? Maybe I should, seek out alternative sources. And I guarantee if you did, you're like, there's a lot I got to question here, but I don't know. It still seems to be a very small fraction of our population that has made that step. We do have the election coming up. How that's going to pan out. What shit show that's going to be, I don't know. But I just can't help but think, well, I mean, it's a litmus test. These elections for me, they're usually litmus tests to tell me or to gauge, what the typical Canadian or the average public, the Joe Schmo or Jane, right? Joe or Jane, where their mind is at. Now, I am kind of pleased to see that Trudeau's getting a little bit of his due, right? And I love how the media, what they call it, Pebblegate, right? whatever they're calling it now, because I don't know. Apparently, someone must have thrown some gravel or some gravel made its way towards Trudeau. But anyways, at least there are protesters, so there are a small semblance of the Canadian population. But of course, I've known that. You've known that. they're typically the kind of people that are watching streams like mine, or who are watching alternative media sources for their news or information, or at least to get a perspective, an alternative perspective, right? But once again, where is that number growing? I would say it's probably grown by leaps and bounds. I don't know. I don't know. It doesn't seem to be that way. Even with the vaccine mandates, these vaccine passports, which was a conspiracy theory when people like myself were reporting on them and talking about them, months and months ago. Oh, that was a big conspiracy theory. But now they're actually front and center and very much real, a reality, and coming soon to a locality near you, right? It's still a small semblance of the population or segment of the population who's railing against it. We're even seeing the polls now. I get the polls, right? Pollsters, right? And who are the people they're polling? That's another big question. Who are these people? Who are you polling? But, based on the sampling of those who they're polling, the majority of Canadians are all in. They're all gung-ho and excited about patrolling their police and their neighbor, or whether they want to go to work or go to a grocery store or go to the doctor's office or wherever they want to travel or traverse or even travel interprovincially or internationally. Everyone seems to be overwhelmingly concerned and on board with adopting a passport system, basically a two-tiered society. Now, you can't help but think that the majority of Canadians who have received the vaccine, whether they did it willy-nilly or begrudgingly, I'm sure that those are the kind of people who are like, well, now that I've had mine, right? Now that I've had to take my vaccine, well, you better have to take yours, right? There's that equality, right, that Canadians seem to long for, that equality, which is the race to the bottom. And you folks have probably heard me say that term quite a few times. And yeah, I'm going to continue to use it because that's where we are, is that race to the bottom. And I got to ask once again for the umpteenth time, when are we going to get there? Well, we're not there yet. That's for sure. But anyways, I just want to check and see who's all in the chat because it looks like at least a few people have joined. And thank you very much, folks. I realize it has been months since you've heard from me. I had to do it. I had to take a break. I had to step away. Well, I had my family I got to consider. I had personal things, personal issues, personal, things that I have to deal with in my life. And, sometimes it's not quite so easy to juggle all of those things at once. And I was getting pretty heavy into things and not necessarily seeing a whole lot of actual rate of return on my investment, right? So I figured let's take a break, do some reflecting, put things into perspective. Is it me? Right. Yeah. And I've done so. And like I say, I feel it's important to continue on this fight, but at a much more reasonable. Okay, we're back. That was weird. It kind of cut down on me. But maybe I was thinking maybe I'll see and gauge, like I say, the litmus test here to see just how far Canadians have come. Maybe there are more people. I would have noticed that actually the PPC seems to be polling even much higher, anywhere, what are the 6 to 10%, which is much higher than they were last go around. So there is at least an increase in support for, alternative perspectives or alternative parties who are challenging the status quo or the establishment. But how big is it? Is it going to be enough? And what's the whole thing with the split in the vote? I know we've all heard it a million times before, right? But I don't want Trudeau to remain in government. I don't want the next federal government to be formed by the Trudeau Liberals. I just personally, I can't take it. I don't want to see it. Not a fan of the Conservative Party either, but I have seen in the past where that throwing the vote away kind of thing by choosing lesser parties, it does happen. It's a reality, and everyone gets up in the air and up in arms when you discuss it, right? Because there's very strong opinionated or opinions from both sides, and like I say, I could fall on either or, depending on the day or the time of the day. I'm not a fan of splitting the vote if it's going to destroy the ability to get rid of Trudeau, but at the same time, I'm also a principled person that don't like picking the lesser of evils, right? So it's a tough call. But anyways, I just want to say hi to a few more of the folks in the chat. Ray Falconer. Hey, what's going on, Ray? It's good to hear from you. Thank you, sir. It's good to hear from you as well. I really appreciate you joining the stream today. I see Wendy. Hey, Wendy, how you doing? How the heck are you, Wendy? Nice to hear from you again. Hi, Bennett friends. How are you all? Good to see you. Very good to see you as well. Well, can't see you, but good to hear from you. And glad you joined the stream, Wendy. Let's see what else we got here. Mask mandates. We got Kyle saying kicks in on the 13th, and I will be a second-class citizen. Yeah. I will say here on the old East Coast, and especially in the rural areas, people are doing really, really good in terms of once the mask mandates, once New Brunswick went into green, and if you live in a rural area of New Brunswick, you recognize this right away, as most places, stores, and restaurants and such, people have taken the masks off, and you're a minority, right? Once again, I'm not into the picking minority or majority here, right? I'm all about individual rights, but in terms of numbers, it seems to be a minority of people who are actually still masking up, and good for the ones that feel like that they need to protect themselves. Hey, go for it. That's your choice. That's the beautiful thing about personal choices. You are responsible for protecting yourself. Collectivism nonsense where I'm forced, right? You're not asking me to protect you. You want to force me to protect you. No. That's where the ball stops, right? That's where it's like, okay, no. Let's not pretend we're all in this together. The minute you are basically forcing me to submit or comply to your mandates, right? But I will say I'm pleased to see that the overwhelming majority of people in the rural areas are turning their way from the mandates, from the new normal, right? And trying to get back to something resembling at least actual normal, right? And I'm really proud to see that, because the more people who do that, the more emboldened others are, right? Which is why you're seeing that despairing or this drastic difference in the cities. I will say even myself in the cities, such as Fredericton. Now that's a little different story. It's kind of a mixed bag, and you can see some places, depending on where you go, where the majority are actually still masking up, right? So it is quite a mixed match, even in this province. But I will say, because New Brunswick numbers have been so low, I don't see quite the amount of fear being perpetrated by just general people in the public, or by store owners, or even the political class in this province. Once again, not a huge fan of Blaine Higgs, but he is not the fear monger as some of the other provincial leaders have been, although he is mandating for the provincial employees, which is going to be bad news, because let me talk about that after I get to this chat. Because when you're mandating people, let me just bring this up. Hey, Saniko, can I bring this up here? The super chat, really appreciate that. Here, one sec. It's alive. Welcome back to the shit show of That Is the Digital World. Yes, thank you very much, Saniko. We really appreciate your donation. That's very kind and generous of you, and thank you for the welcome back as well. It is good to be back, and it's really good to be able to get to gauge support and get to talk to some of the fine folks like yourself who have joined the stream. And like I say, really appreciative of those of you who have. But yeah, with these mask mandates, the mask mandate, I don't see it coming back right anytime soon, although I should put the cart before the horse. But these vaccine passports, or these vaccine mandates, you got to think, especially when you hear about this massive and drastic shortage of people in the healthcare fields, right? It's like, and when you hear about the protests of people that are actually protesting, right, at these hospitals, let's say in Ontario or such, as we've heard about, and if you read the articles, which I do, as you know, the very people who are protesting these mandates, these vaccine mandates, are the people in the healthcare fields, right? So some of your long-term care workers, some of your hospital staff and faculty, right? And you got to expect it's usually the ones that are on the lower end of the pay scale, or in terms of the hierarchy in the healthcare system, are the ones that are saying, no, I'm been putting up with way too much crap for too long, and I just can't do it anymore. And the ones that are out there protesting. And what do their employers or big government have to say in response? So, we're just going to force you to do it. Well, that usually doesn't work out too well. And if you're running a business, right, right, which, I mean, well, the government isn't a business, although they like to pretend they are. But if you're running any kind of establishment where you rely on those people to do all the real work, right, the actual hands-on work, and you are constantly treating them like second-class citizens, imposing your will on them, mandating things such as overtime, even, right? Wearing them out, exhausting them extensively, and scaring the living daylights out of them. Then you want to mandate things on them, and you wonder why they're turning their backs on you. And you're wondering why do we have such a massive and serious shortage of nurses or healthcare staff? Well, there's your reason. You're treating them like second-class citizens, mandating them, basically telling them their free will means nothing to you, right? You're going to determine for them, right, their futures. And you think that's going to work out well for who is it? Who's it going to work out well for? It's not going to be working out good for those former staff members or those who are now newly unemployed, right? Or looking to enter into a totally different venture in terms of their occupation. Definitely not going to work out good for those people that, you know, that are in the hospital who rely on these former staff members. Or, you know, that's the thing. We see the hospitals or certain places that are being overwhelmed. It's not overwhelmed by numbers, as we recognize, and the establishment media has even reported on it, is the reason why some, you know, hospitals or places regarding health are overwhelmed, although not so much now, but have been in the past overwhelmed or maybe in the future, is because of the shortage of staff. But yeah, let's just double down on that kind of insanity and make staffing shortages even more stark. Where does that make sense? I don't know. But anyways, I see, hey, Mr. G. Rich, very nice to see you in the chat, my friend. Really, really good to see you. What the hell happened to you? Like I say, I needed time for myself. It was one day I may very well get into a big, long, drawn explanation, but I got to tell you, it was nice to actually take the time and to refocus and recollect things in my mind. I tell you, if you've ever realized this or noticed this yourself, sometimes you can get too hyper focused on a goal, and it kind of gives you a tunnel vision without being able to look at the periphery, right? And I wasn't looking as much at the periphery as I probably should have, although now I am. But anyways, I do really appreciate you joining the chat, Mr. G. Rich, and for your donation as well. And you can expect that I'll be back more often from here going forward. And like I say, thanks for joining the chat. I'm just going to scroll down once again, see who else we got in here. How about dropping a bone that you need a break on social media? That's not the way to treat your supporters. How about dropping? I did actually drop a bone that you need a break on. So I did actually post that I needed a break there, fine sir. Maybe you didn't get the notification. That is something that happens. I notice quite a bit is notifications don't get sent out to everyone. I do apologize to you for that. But anyways, thank you once again. Thanks for joining the stream. Let's see what else, if we got anyone else here. Here we go. Russell McNeil, long time no see. Hey to you, Russell McNeil. Nice to see you in the chat as well. Appreciate that. Yeah, I agree with the election thing there, Wendy. It is what it is, and it's going to happen on the 20th. And I won't even bother in this particular stream probing or poking you folks to ask where your loyalties or your voting intentions lie, because once again, that's a tough one even for me to try to figure out what in the heck. What does a person do? Where do you go? What box do you check, right? You go the principled way. Once again, I've watched myself in the past with the whole, holding yourself to a really high standard or bar and being principled. Yeah, sounds great in theory, and I'm not turning my back against it entirely, but boy, it can really leave you vulnerable, or with another L, which is being a big old loser from time to time, right? So it's a tough call. Great to see you again, sir. Thank you, Medic 855. Was it 3? Thank you very much. Really appreciate that. Hey, what's going on, John Hicks? Very nice to see you in the chat as well. Thank you very much. Welcome back, John Hicks says, and nice to hear from you. And like I say, hopefully we'll get a chance to chat now that I've got the Starlink. Not sure if you folks actually, let me see. Did I post that up there? Oh, actually, can I even do any of this stuff? I got it. That's the other thing too. I'm going to have to start, if I'm going to do this regularly, start paying for the added features, which StreamYards has added some great new features, to be honest with you. Really great new features I'm looking forward to learning about and testing these buggers out. But yeah, anyways, so just to let you know, I did finally receive my Starlink setup. Maybe I can share the screen and show you folks here. Share screen, Chrome tab. Yeah, I think I can. Okay, so yeah, that feature's still available. Okay, so here we go. All right. Yeah. So yeah, this is my post that I posted on the old Facebook just the other day. But yeah, so this showed up at my door the other day. And you folks, especially if you pay attention to Starlink, or if you're someone that lives in a rural community in Canada, you've been probably like myself waiting anxiously with bated breath for this kind of a thing to finally become a reality in our particular neck of the woods, because it's going to help out. It's going to be a game changer entirely in terms of having actual, and it's going to get more stable as time goes by. That's still not perfect because it's still in its beta phase, but actual high speed internet in the country in New Brunswick. So that's the box it comes in. There it is. Once I head it into my entrance way, there's the dish, the tripod, the router, and all the wiring. Like, it's just so simple too. When they say Starlink is so simple to set up, yeah, like I wish everything was like that. IKEA could only hope, right? Something so simple. No, but I kid you not, folks. It worked out really, really simple. Let me just bring this back off here. But yeah, you literally just you put the dish. Well, I put mine up on the roof at the very top, so that it's got the most unobstructed view of the sky, because that's what you need, is an unobstructed view of the sky. I put it on the highest portion of the roof. Basically, just run the cable into your house, wherever you probably already have a place, a junction where infrastructure that came in, whether it's from cable before or your past internet connection, which is what I did. You just run it into your home, plug in your router, plug it into the wall. Actually, the router and everything's plugged in, but you just have to replug it in, because you got to take the wire out in order to feed it through your house, right? But yeah, you just basically plug it in and set up your password and all that stuff and test it out, and you're done. And I've already noticed I've been getting speeds. It varies. Like I say, it does vary, because it's not as stable as it will be, in the future. But I've already reached speeds. The lowest speed was around 70 megabytes per second download. And I've gotten as high as 140, 150 megabytes per second download. And upload seems to range anywhere from 10 to 25, in and around there. Now, to compare it to what I was using prior, all those live streams that I had such a difficult time with in the past with XplorNet, it was supposed to be 10 download, 1 upload. But in reality, what I was actually getting in reality with actual real numbers was less than 5, typically 2 to 3 download megabytes, and less than 1 for upload. And upload is what you use when you're doing live streams. So obviously having less than 1 megabyte per second for upload, yeah, which is why my live streams were quite glitchy, a lot of drop frames, and really, really pixely, which I would expect that is no longer the case today. And that's why I'm doing a test run anyways, just to make sure that all this is going to work out good. And like I say, see how it's going to be, and then kind of go from there. But yeah, I'm real happy to have Starlink, not just for myself, but have it available to anyone else, whether you're in Canada or anywhere else in terms of jurisdictions, so that you can actually get up to speed literally in terms of internet or broadband in 2021. Really is a game changer. And like I say, I, for one, am thankful to have it. And in terms of cost, well, the infrastructure, like to buy the actual unit, it's fairly expensive. It was roughly around $700 Canadian with the exchange rate. But your monthly fee, which is $129, that's actually not a whole lot more then what? I think I just heard the door. Hold on one sec there, folks. One sec. Sorry about that, folks. As somebody looking for to buy a used car, one that my son has that's still sitting here, and hopefully he sells it. Actually, to be honest with you, but yeah, bad timing in terms of sorry about that. Sorry about that. Bad timing. But like I say, things do have to happen here, and I'm a one man band, as you folks know. Okay, so let's see what's going on here at the bottom one. Willie, hello, fellow NBer. Hey, Willie, fellow NBer. Always nice to hear from a fellow NBer. I didn't know you were NB. Geez, I'll be following closer for the local viewpoint. Thank you for not being authoritarian. Well, it's not a problem. I know that's crazy. That thank you for not being authoritarian. That's a thing in 2021, right? It should be the default position for most people, but based on the fact that the overwhelming majority of Canadians, right, that are polled, seem to overwhelmingly support these mask mandates, or they did, right, or the vaccine passports or vaccine mandates, is yeah, like, and you got to think what kind of people are we dealing with here when the majority of a population, pretty disgruntled, pretty miserable types, right? Because you got to think about the mindset, right? The psychology of someone that, I want to force or impose myself on others, right? And I mean, the ramifications, the effects, the cause and effect of mandating these things, the kind of impositions that's going to be on people's personal, social, and work life, right? I mean, think about that. And how is it going to pay out or play out in the long run? You got to just imagine. You got to imagine this. The numbers for most of these people who are big fans of authoritarianism or these mandates. The numbers got to skew to the older populations. And I've said so many times in the past, like, sure, just like in a parent when you're raising small children, sure, when you have the physical size and the intimidation factor, right? Sure, you can impose yourself on kids, right? Quite easily, quite readily. A lot of parents do. How's that work out for you in the long run, right? I don't know. Very strained relationship with your kids, if you have any at all, right? Probably not much good for like extended family, even in terms of grandkids. Maybe your kids that you raised so poorly or in such an authoritarian manner don't want their kids to ever have a relationship with you and stuff. I mean, think about the kind of effect that has. So the authoritarian mindset of those would be typically skewing older. Yeah, go ahead and do that now, right? If it suits your purpose. But aren't these people thinking long term, in terms of that's probably not going to work out for you in the long run, right? Especially if you're an aging or elderly boomer or someone, right? Like you want to mandate stuff, and then you want these people to take care of you in your latter years? I don't know, right? If I was treating some people like second-class citizens or forcing them or compelling them to do things against their will, I don't know if I'd necessarily trust them to take care of me in the later years or stages of my life, right? Just like Sure, you can go to a restaurant, you go to McDonald's and complain about their shitty ass food too. But if you do that before they bring your food out to you, well, it's another risk you take, right? I don't know. Like I said, I just don't understand the mindset of some people and why authoritarianism has taken root. But this isn't the first time. It won't be the last. And once again, if you're an astute observer of just reality, or an avid fan of reading up on history, which I am, you'll see that these things happen, and people, even in the time that they happen, they're just as shocked as you or I are as it's unfolding that things can lead down that particular path, right? Where no, something's going to happen, and people will see the light of day, or sanity will prevail. Well, think about how many examples in the past where that didn't happen. It definitely not right away. So there's always that to think about. Hey, what's going on, Coach T-Mac? FYI, I am shopping for some prepping supplies after the election. Anything goes. Yeah, I wouldn't say that's a bad idea. Oh, sorry you had to leave there, Mr. G. Rich, but thank you very much once again for your kind donation. Really appreciate that. What? Well, thanks for that. You just lost him sub and supporter. Apparently, you can't please everyone all the time, and I'm not even going to try. I'm done with the. I come back here one time to try to get back into things, and I don't like I say, people are mad. Mr. G Rich is mad. I get it. Listen, we're all mad, up in arms, and angry at something, right? I will just say, taking it out on each other, it's just not working out very well. And I'm not going to retaliate. Like I say, I'm in a totally different mindset these days when it comes to this stuff. It is what it is. It is what it is. Miss Maggie, what's going on? That's fine. He still doesn't owe you shit. Well, thank you very much. But I'm just going to move on because, like I say, I don't want to get into this. There's just so many things that we have to worry about. Right? It's like this infighting. That's why society being as divided as it is it is the reason why the ruling class and the authoritarians are winning hand over fist, is because people are too busy fighting amongst each other, right? Solidarity is gone. It's that left versus right, us versus them mentality, and there's no gray area. There's no middle ground, right? So it's one way or the other, and it is what it is. It sucks. I'm not a fan of it, but hey, like I say, it is what it is. Wendy, I'm voting PBC. It's time we take Canada back from this commie regime. I definitely agree with you, Wendy, and I wish anyone that cares about freedom and liberty, any political party, I wish them luck. How it's going to play out, that's the problem too, which is why my opinion regarding politics, I mean, I'll give it some time, right, before I decide whether I really want to dig too much into it, because it's another one of those areas where no matter what you say, somebody's going to get mad at you, right? But anyways, let me just see. Groovy Grover right on. She can't be forced, and forced out because neither will Maxime Bernier. So Ray Falconer. Let's see what we got here. Every man, woman has the right to themselves first. Glad you're back. We all need a break from all this bullcrap. Fresh troops are always needed to continue this war on humanity. Well said, Ray Falconer. Well said. And I definitely agree with your assessment there. But anyways, thanks. Like I say, thanks for those of you who have stepped up to defend me. And sorry that I bothered you in some way there, Mr. G. Rich. From NB, I like your channel. Keep up the good work and talking subject. Oh, thank you. Another NBer. That's great. I will be doing that. And another thing I've been contemplating is something that I have never done in the past, is possibly not just doing live streams and making videos and stuff, but actually doing in-person where you rent a venue, right? Rent a venue and get some of the people in the local community to come out and start to discuss some of these very important things. Because I think people function much better when we're actually in person and around each other, right? I think people are on their best behavior as opposed to online, where it does seem to be just a free for all at times. Anyways, folks, I really appreciate you. I'm not going to stay on this stream too long. I basically just wanted to test out the waters, make sure everything's working in terms of not just the Starlink setup, but in terms of people getting notifications, or if there's even enough people out there who have any interest in seeing any further comment from the Canadian Libertarian channel. And so far, I'm seeing there is at least still a small amount of Canadians who care and who do want to see content. So I'll keep that in mind going forward. And like I say, I really appreciate it. Like I say, for all you folks who did join up, I'm going to get out there now and deal with that issue there. The person that's looking at my son's car. I'll tie up this stream. Like I say, I'll give you lots of notice in advance before the next one. This one was kind of a short advance notice, but for the next live stream, and I'll probably even start doing some videos as well. Some just the short, 5, 10, 15-minute videos that I typically used to upload to my videos, because I know some of you folks really like those ones as well, rather than sitting and enduring a rather long form live stream. But like I say, really appreciate all you folks who did join the stream today. And I'm looking forward to seeing you in the future. And in the meantime, make sure you're doing everything you can to, like I say, lead by example and put your best foot forward so that we can get more and more of our fellow Canadians on board with supporting liberty and freedom, not collectivism and authoritarianism. Anyways, have a great day and a great weekend, you folks. It's Canadian Libertarian. I love liberty.